Okay, guys, good morning, good afternoon. Today, I'm as curious as you guys are. I think Leandro is the only one who knows them a little bit better. Meg and her husband, they had held a session already in July when I was on vacation, and Bruce was holding as a host, right? Let me see. What I know about you, Meg, I know that you lived
Okay.
in Australia for a while and now you're back in Brazil. That's all. But with that, I'm already very curious because I'd like to know. Can I ask the first question before you start with the introduction? Okay. No, no,
Sure.
no. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. Please introduce yourself before we start with the questions. And I'm gonna be the first. I'm gonna raise my hand.
Okay.
For the other ones who are here, raise your hands because otherwise we don't know who is in first in line. Let me check here the reaction. I'm gonna raise my hand right away.
Uh,
Okay. Go ahead,
okay.
Greg. Introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Simone, for allowing me to participate this time and talk a little bit about my experience in Australia. I am Brazilian, so English is not my first language. And the reason why I went to Australia is to learn English. So I've been there for 8 years and I just returned a couple of months ago. Um, I used to work here in Brazil as a project manager for many years. And then, so in 2015, I quit my job. In 2016, we went to Australia. Oh, this is a nice map about Australia. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my introduction. I'll leave for you with the questions. I have some topics to touch on. If you guys don't ask me, I'll make sure I can say something about it.
Oh well, Meg, it's gonna I'm sure we're gonna run out of time. We're not gonna have asked all the questions that we want to ask. It's gonna be a very busy busy day today. Okay, my question is, I think I was talking to another friend who went through the same thing as you going through at the moment. It's when you leave Brazil and you come back, how does it feel? Because I think it's very mind-blowing. It's very
It is.
okay, tell us
So
the decision and how you're feeling, all that
the decision to go or the decision
to
to
come back.
return?
Yeah,
To
to
come
go back
back?
to.
Okay. I wasn't really getting prepared to return. It was something that happened because of the visa conditions. So everything is about visa, and while you are not a permanent resident, you need to keep applying for visas, right?
Um,
So I never knew that I would be there forever since the beginning because there was a condition in terms of my age that didn't allow me to stay in Australia as a permanent resident. So
oh,
you have three options to stay in Australia. I would say summarizing three options. If you marry someone from Australia, it's an option. So you can become a citizen. Then Vlad didn't allow me to do it.
So we have just two options.
And then if you have a lot of money to open a business,
mhm.
that needs to be a lot of money. Obviously, I didn't have it. And the third one, if you can be sponsored by an employer or you can get points enough to apply for a permanent residence on your own because of your work, right? So I could try this one. However, when I went to Australia, I was already 46, and the limit was 50 years of age. So if I had only 4 years to try to get a sponsor and get a permanent visa, right? So after I don't know 1 month or two that we were there, the law changed. So they change regulation all the time. So they kind of balance the regulation according to the need of the country. So they need people, they need international students, they open a little bit the visa options. If they don't, they just cut. So what they did, they dropped the limit age for 45. So at the very beginning, we didn't have any option, right, to stay there and get the permanent residency.
Okay.
So we went there first to stay for 7 months. And then we decided to apply for another student visa. This is what's allowed. Doesn't matter your age, you can apply for another visa and stay. So I studied 2 more years, and then Vlad studied 2 more years and you get the visa as a partner. And then it happened after many years that one specific visa was open that allowed us to stay until 60 years of age. So it was our option, and I was in the right place in the right time. So I was sponsored by the company where I was working at. So they sponsored me. I was able to stay 3 years there with that visa. That was an option to apply for the permanent residency, but then because was something linked to the government program, and the government program was canceled in January this year. So they communicate that I wouldn't be able to stay there, no longer be there, not because of the company decision, but because the visa, I wouldn't comply with all the requirements for that visa, which is working full time and another conditions. They also raised the wages, annual wage that was really high, so the company couldn't comply with that. So we sit in a table and discussed and said, okay, it's time to return. So it wasn't our decision. It was really the visa condition. Otherwise, we would stay there and try to get the permanent residency. So you asked me about the feeling of returning. So I'm just giving some background so you can understand. So it wasn't the nicest one, to be honest, because we weren't planning that. And the first feeling was like, okay, we don't want to live in São Paulo because this is a huge city. And after living in a smaller city and having a very good quality of life, we don't want to be in such a big city, which is not really nice for us. So we are temporarily in São Paulo now, but we are preparing to move. So we are seeking places, making some decisions, especially in relation to work. So the first thing was decide a work that can allow us to work remotely. And this is okay now. We just signed some contracts this week and everything is sorted now. Now we need to decide which city we are going to, because we want to stay in a smaller city with more quality of life, with more nature, not so dangerous like São Paulo. So
Sorry, Daniel. What city did you live in? Did you live, you and Vlad, in Australia?
In Australia. Gold Coast.
Gold Coast?
It's close to Brisbane. I saw that you are showing the map. You need to, if you can zoom in a little bit more on the right side. Yes, Gold Coast. Can you see Gold Coast close to Brisbane?
Yeah, Gold Coast. Yeah, Brisbane.
Yeah. So Gold Coast is the first city of Queensland. So it's in the border, very close to the border. So the state of Queensland takes all this right side of Australia, west side. And then in the south, below Gold Coast is all New South Wales, where you can see Sydney and other big cities.
Yeah, okay.
So Australia basically has 6 big states. They are large states.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so this is the place. And it's a tourist city. So basically everything that is about tourism.
Okay.
How good, Simone, is that? Does it reply your question?
Yeah.
Answer your question yet?
Yeah, very, very good. Okay,
Okay, go ahead,
thank
Daniel,
you.
please.
Okay.
Hi, Daniel.
Well, Megan, nice to meet you.
Nice.
What were
My God.
some of the most significant challenges you faced when adjusting to life in Australia? Is there any Brazilian traditions or habits you try to maintain while living there and it was very difficult, for example?
So many challenges at the beginning, especially because my English was really, how can I say, broken? I learned English in Brazil for many years in school, but because of my work routine here, I used to work many hours a day. So I used to enroll in a school and then quit because I couldn't comply with the times and everything. So I learned English here a lot for many years, but I think my grammar was kind of okay, but I couldn't really speak. I didn't have the opportunity to talk to someone in Brazil. So you go to the country saying, oh, I know something. But then when you arrive there, you just say, when you land in the country, I said, okay, I know nothing. So our first plan was to study during 6 months. So the main reason to go there was to study English. So we had this 6-month plan to study. So I finished my course. I was touching in the advanced level, just touching. And then I said, I need much more. I need to have really the experience at work. So I was working, but not talking much. And then this was the reason that we decided to stay there, because to become fluent in English, and I am be honest with you, I know that I have a lot to work in my pronunciation and vocabulary. I have a lot to work yet, even after 8 years, right? But after that, those 6 months, I said, okay, so this was the first challenge, the language. And the language that you learn at school is totally different to the language that you listen on the streets. Australian language is really different. And the way that they talk super fast, and the way that they pronounce the words, that sometimes you cannot recognize that is the word that you know. Sometimes they say words that you know, but the way that they say that is like, I cannot recognize that pronunciation. So it was a challenge. The second challenge was to find the work, because sometimes I think people they paint a picture that doesn't exist. When you go overseas, they say, oh, there are lots of jobs. It's easy to make money. It's easy to save money. You become rich if you live in such and such place. This is not true for everybody. Can be true to some specific people. But I think also because of the age, as I said, I was 46. And it's a tourist city, so lots of young people going there on their 20s, right? So I think people had like preference for young people sometimes to work in a restaurant, in a cafe, or whatever. So it was a bit difficult to find jobs at the first time. Then we found, and then we work a lot, but for a couple of months was a bit terrifying. I think that's all.
Nice, I totally got you. It's the kind of the way I feel without international experience, you know. Yeah, I think my English right now is poor. I need to improve a lot, and I think I'm looking forward to have a experience in another country.
Foreign
The
country.
second, yeah, in a foreign country.
I
No
think you
doubt.
should try. I think everybody should try. It's changed our mind a lot in terms of culture, and especially if you are in a country, for example, like Australia, that they have people from everywhere, and they have large communities of people from Asia. So China, Japan, Korea, South Korea, Indonesian, Malaysia. Those
I
are
think that
cultures. If
I
you
think
live
that
here in São Paulo,
Adelaide concentrates the most people in this with this kind of profile, isn't it?
well, Gold Coast also, they are everywhere. They are everywhere. For example, my first class, English class, the classroom, I was the only one from South America. All the people there, they were all Japanese. And it was
Yeah.
hard because Japanese, they are excellent in grammar, but they don't talk. So every time that the teacher asked us to talk, I was the one always pushing, because let's talk, because they were really shy. They don't want, So yeah, I think having this experience with different cultures is super rich. So it really worth spend some money and have this experience, Daniel. I think you should really consider, if you have the opportunity, take it and go.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Leandro.
All right, all right. Okay, so
Hi,
it's very
Leandro.
good to be here again. Like, it's amazing session here with Simone and everyone here. It's pretty good. So my question is, how is for those Brazilians that want to take visa to Australia? So how does that work? And another question, how is the culture shock, right? What's the most bigger culture shock that you had when you arrived there?
Okay. I will start with the second question, okay? Lots of shocks. Australian, they are really relaxed. They are really relaxed. They are amazing people. They are friendly and they are relaxed in a way that sometimes you cannot understand, right? So I come from São Paulo, which is a big city, and I used to work in a global company here. So starting with the dressing, I was used to be in my high heels and, being very well dressed, right? And then you go to Australia, they are all just relaxing. It's casual day every day, So even at the end that I was working in an office, people go to the office in a way that you cannot imagine. And they repeat the same clothes from the day before, something that we never do here in São Paulo. In São Paulo, you change your purse, you change everything, your shoes, and then you never repeat in the same week the same clothes. They go 2 days in a row with the same clothes. And for example, if you have a costume party, it happened to me, for example, just to compare, it happened to me here in São Paulo, having the opportunity to go to a costume party. So the costume would be superhero in a nightclub. But even the night being superhero, I was like, I'm not getting that. I'll go just in black and then I'll be okay. So I would say 10% of people in that party was really wearing the costume, right? If you go to Australia and someone says, oh, there is a costume party, people will be on the streets. They will drive with a costume like a bunny or whatever. They are funny because you see people walking on the streets with those funny costumes and they don't care. They go to the supermarket, especially at night. And I think Vlad, next time in 2 weeks, Vlad will be here hosting. He can tell better about it because he used to work in a supermarket. But people go to a supermarket at night, for example. Let's say that is winter. They are in their pajamas at home and they say, oh, I need to buy something. They just go with the pajamas, They
Amazing.
go.
Yeah, funny.
They don't care. And this is something is shocking, but at the same time, it's so relieving because you feel like, why I care so much what people think about me? So it's really give you some relief of the stress that you live. Like a city like São Paulo is really stressing in many ways. So you are all the time worried about safety and what people think about me. I don't know if my car is the best one. I need to change car because it's not the new release. But they don't care. They don't show up. They show off. They are what they are without thinking about what people are thinking about them. I think for me, there are other cultural shocks, but this is the one that I can remember now and tell you. So the second question was about visa, right? They change every single year, as I was saying that time, according to their need. Because the country is really small, the population is like 22 million people in a country that has the same size of Brazil, or 24 million people or something. So it's 10% of what Brazil is with the same area, right? So they all live on the coasts. Nobody lives in the internet,
Inland.
basically.
On the
Yeah,
region.
basically. So, and then sometimes they need people in construction. Sometimes they need people in mines. Sometimes they need people in hospitality. So they change the visa conditions according to their needs, right? So usually most of the time people leave Brazil or any other country with a student visa. So you can go with a tourist visa as well, which lasts for 1 year. The tourist visa lasts for 1 year, and you need to stay 3 months there, leave the country, and return if you want to stay there that 1 year. You cannot stay straight 1 year. You need to leave the country. So people, when they go with a tourist visa, they usually go to Bali or Japan or some countries around, and then they return. But you cannot work with the tourist visa. If you have a student visa, you can work 24 hours a week. In my time was 20 hours. Now it's 24 hours a week. 24 hours a week is enough to pay your bills. So you can pay your bills, pay your school, and that's fine. You cannot save money, but you can pay your bills with 24 hours.
24 hours a week?
A week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the working agreement, they are totally different. Like in Brazil, you are used to have something really rigid. So you work full time and that's it, right? So in Australia, you have lots of casual jobs, part-time jobs, full-time jobs. And the part-time jobs can be organized in different ways. Maybe you work 10 hours for a company and 15 hours for another company in the same week. And it's super common. You have 2 or 3 jobs. So our condition for until beginning of 2021 was working part-time in my case, because I was a student. Vlad had another arrangement that he was working full-time, but because he had a special arrangement, but usually you work only part-time. And then you can be sponsored by a company. Like if you are not in the student visa, the other way that you can work there is being sponsored by a company. And then that company can sponsor you for a period of time, or they can sponsor you trying to get a permanent visa for you. There are other special visas as well, like business visa, like I was mentioned, but you need to have a lot of money, unless you are from Hong Kong. They made like 2 years ago a very special arrangement for people from Hong Kong. Sometimes because of political arrangements or that the country is facing something special, difficult, so they open for that specific country, they open special visas for them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good, Leandro? Thank you.
Thank you so
Wow,
much.
that was a very good answer. Okay, Heider.
Oh, thank you. Hello, Maggie. Nice to meet you. Hello, guys. Good morning.
Likewise. Hi, Heider.
Oh, Maggie, I'd like to know a little bit about what is the cost of living in Australia? And the other question, I'm a little curious to know about the Aboriginals people. Aboriginals people, are they integrate Australian society, or Aboriginal people live in general, of course, in isolation in your own groups, because if they live in isolation like some groups, like Brazilian indigenous in general, of course.
Very nice
Wow, great
question.
question, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, most of Aboriginal, they live isolated in the outback. So in
Okay, let's
hinterland.
ask Renato to show again the map of Australia,
Please.
Just a
Yes,
minute.
please, Renato. Yes.
because I think it's very difficult to know for us Brazilians. We have no idea. Where is this famous outback? Outback?
Okay. The outback, yes.
Outback.
Like
Okay.
the restaurant, the outback or the restaurant that we go.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
What does
pretty
it
much
mean? What does it mean, outback there in Australia?
it's sorry? Yeah, it's the desert. Yeah.
Desert. Okay.
Desert.
Where,
It's the
where
desert.
is
So
it?
it's in pretty so
Where is
it's
it,
pretty much
Maggie?
everything in the middle. When you see here Alice Springs, for example,
It's the biggest.
you,
Okay.
Lara, Alice Springs is the biggest city in Outback. You don't
Okay.
have something written in the map saying Outback,
Okay.
right? But everything here in the middle, it's desert. and belongs to the outback. So, for example, in Queensland, where I used to live, right? Queensland is this big state on the northwest. So if you go to the border of Queensland, at the left, in the middle here, you can see a line, a row here. Yeah, this is already outback. So everything that I have been in this, you can see a city below called Birdsville. If you go with your just a little bit to the left.
The left.
Just on top
With
of
the pointer.
Birdsville.
trace line.
Birdsville.
Yeah.
So Birdsville, I will give you something interesting. This is totally outback. It's totally desert, right? But they have horse races in Australia, in all the big cities. And once a year, they have a big race in Birdsville. Birdsville is a city with 137 inhabitants only, right? 137 people live there.
Yeah, come on.
However, when they have the races, people come from everywhere to the outback. They come from everywhere to Birdsville to participate in the races. So they come by airplane, small airplanes. They have a very small, very tiny airport there. And they come with the camper van, so the caravan, and they stay in that big parks with the caravan because there is only one hotel in that city, very small. And people come from all around Australia to Birdsville to participate in the races. It's like a large weekend, like 3-4 days. And I've been there. Fortunately, I was chosen by the company that I was working in hospitality at that time, and they invited me to go to Birdsville to work. So I worked there for 12 days in a row. And it was amazing because the city has only this river. This is the hotel where I was. So it's the hotel behind.
The only hotel.
The only one. And in the front is a big bar. So when the races are happening, this is totally crowded around the bar, around those streets, but the rest of the city is just desert. So I've been there in 2017, if I don't mistake, and it's just blew my mind really because you see everything empty. And then you go from 137 people that live in the city to 7,000 people.
Wow.
So there is a sign in the entrance of the city that says that. How many people living in Birdsville? From 137 to 7,000. So this is it's a very large
huge
range.
Increase.
It's huge. If you guys have the opportunity to see some photos of the races in Birdsville, it's amazing. But
Meg, sorry to interrupt. How did you have all the food and water for all these people then?
Sorry.
You had to feed these people. Like,
So this is
how did
this
they
is
do
the same.
that?
Look,
This hotel is so small.
the hotel can have 250 people only, right? So
Yeah.
the rooms you can fit like 3 or 4 people in each room, right? So the races. The hotel accepts only the staff. Only people that will be working during the races stay in the hotel. So I stay in the hotel. And then everybody that goes there, they go with the caravan. They go in a trailer and they just sleep there. They cannot stay in the city. So around the city there are parks that they can just park their camper van like this one. But think about hundreds of camper van.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that even in the airport, which is this is the bar. I work in that bar. I serve
Yeah.
many beers, hundreds and thousands of beers in that bar. You need to be really quick. Open the can all the time. It's really quick. It's really
But
quick.
did you
And I work.
drink the stock? Did you drink the stock? No.
No, I don't like beer. So
Wow.
we feel like you are in a movie when you are in a bar
Yes, it
like
looks so
that.
old,
Yeah, a Western movie,
outdated.
lots of hats. Yeah. So and when you ask about Aboriginal people, there are lots of Aboriginal people living in that area. Not in that city, only a few, but in Alice Springs is the place where they live a lot. So we see Aboriginal people around Australia, but it's not so common. And they have a specific program from the government to them. Because like here in Brazil, they are trying to repair historical damage that they did to Aboriginal people. Like in Brazil, when you say about the indigenous that like Portuguese came here and killed lots of indigenous people, and took over the land. So Australia has a similar history, which is really sad because I've been in this Duna. I've been in this one, Red Rock. So it's sad because Australia has the same kind of history. So the British people came and they killed lots of Aboriginal people there. So they are trying to repair the history with some government programs to include those people. They have preference to be included in certain programs like schools, universities, even at work. It's like here in Brazil that we have, depends on the size of the company, you have like a certain range of spots for people with disability or something like that. So they have the same, or even in university here in Brazil. So they have those kind of spots separate for Aboriginal people. They are trying to repair the history.
Okay, Renato, can you please show us some pictures because they look really different from the rest of the world. They have very characteristic, how do you call it? In their faces.
The Aboriginal,
Yeah.
yeah, they are different. Yeah.
Okay, Renato, can you
You
please show us some pictures?
I don't know. I don't know if I have it here.
No, you just go out of the maps and then just go to Google and then you
yeah
type Aboriginals and we're gonna see some pictures. Or maybe even there you're gonna find it.
yeah maybe Aborigi. There is I after the
No,
G.
AL.
Aboriginal.
Aboriginal. Oh, okay, sorry.
Aboriginal, yeah. Yep.
Aboriginal.
Yeah. And my image is, I don't know if they use.
But he's looking Birdsville can be all around
Yeah,
Australia.
can be all around Australia as well. But I saw
Just
maybe delete
Birdsville.
Birdsville. Yeah. Oh, maybe people sitting here. I can see.
Renato,
Yeah.
delete Birdsville, please. And see if it's gonna come. Something's gonna come up.
I can say Aboriginal Australia. Let me see.
Yeah, that's it. It's just because you are in math, maybe
Yeah,
maybe you need
Yeah.
to
Yes.
go back,
Yeah, I'm
go
gonna
back
I'm
and
gonna I'm gonna
Google
search for
search.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to check it. Let's go ahead and then I'm going to
all right,
to
all
look
right.
for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to Kia, who has lived in New Zealand as well. So let's see what she has to
that's
say.
Yeah, hello.
hello, Kia.
Nice to
We were
meet
so
you.
close. Nice to meet you. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, first of all, it's really interesting what you're telling me because I wasn't in Australia. I was in New Zealand because I'm scared of dangerous animals. So that's that's the choice I made. Yeah. And Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the cultural differences because I thought it was really striking when you said that they don't really care about appearances or anything. And I wonder if it's maybe because the both of the countries, New Zealand as well, Australia, have a lot of travelers. Um, who of course don't have much clothes, so they have to wear the same clothing, and that maybe Australians think, ah, if they don't do that, then we don't either. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe
just want
that.
to correct. I just want to correct myself because it's they don't care at all. But I mean, if you
They're
go to
more
a
loose
party,
in
yeah,
this.
if you go to a party, for example, they have the horse riding a lot around Australia, so they go really fancy. They dress up to go to the races, like in England when you see the Queen going to a horse racing, they have the
I
hats. So so they do that as well. And some of the ladies, they are really how can I say, vaidosa, vains,
yeah,
Fancy,
vain.
yeah,
Very
fancy.
veins.
vain.
Yeah.
So they really use a strong makeup, and the hair is beautiful, and then they put on those hats and beautiful dresses, and they go to the races this way. Or other parties as well. They go really very well dressed, but in a daily basis, especially in the city that I was living on, that was tourist city. So sometimes you see people on the streets in their bikinis, and it's shocking sometimes as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they just leave the beach and go to a bar or McDonald's, and they are in the
Barefoot.
bikinis, barefoot all the time. They sometimes don't wear shoes. It's so interesting. Um, I don't know if it's related to really to the foreign people that go there. I don't think
Mm,
so. I think it's really their culture. But
their
I
culture.
have the feeling that in Melbourne, because it's more like it's colder in Melbourne, so people I believe they are more careful with the dressing, because they go to the offices and they have important meetings, and maybe they are more
Mhm.
careful. The place where I was working on, or the city, or everything that we see there. So they don't iron the clothes. So you
No,
have a t-shirt, you pick up your t-shirt from from your closet and just put
exactly.
on. And that's
That's
awesome. You
what
don't
I
need to
picked
worry
up
about
as
it.
well, yeah. I
Yeah,
learned
they don't
to
iron.
not iron my clothes when I was there. Yeah, now I don't do it here either.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And to be honest, I am not doing much as well here in São Paulo now. I'm trying to wear only those things that doesn't need to be, ironed, because it's
exactly.
such
Yeah,
a waste of
I
time.
feel you.
Yeah, so this is
Yeah,
something that changing my mind. I used to iron even my bed sheets when I was living in São Paulo, and now I don't iron anything. Yeah, but
yeah.
I'm really sorry that I couldn't go to New Zealand because it's so close.
It is. I think it's
We
only
were
an hour
planning,
or less. Yeah.
yeah, we were planning to visit, but we couldn't. I know that New Zealand is beautiful, super
Beautiful.
cold, but we
Yeah,
couldn't.
it
So,
depends. Northern or southern islands. Yeah, it depends.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just returning a little bit in terms of the visa that someone asked. So, people from New Zealand, they have very different conditions to go to Australia. They are kind of sibling countries, they have specially conditions. If you are New Zealand, then you go transit to Australia without a visa, and then you can get a permanent residency really easy.
Maybe like Brazil and
Just
Portugal, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Portugal, you need to prove that you are a descendant and everything, right?
Yeah,
New
yeah. To
Zealand,
get a
no,
yeah,
you don't need to
beautiful.
be related to each
Oh
other.
yeah,
If you
no,
are a
no.
New Zealand, you have special conditions in Australia and vice versa.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, Maggie. I have a curiosity about. Did you finish, Kia? Sorry for my interruption.
Oh yeah, yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so a curious that I heard about Australia is the time that the malls close. People say that the malls close at 5 p.m. and people go home. they close the malls and they the malls stay closed. I think it's related to the quality of life. I don't know if
That's it.
that's true or
That's
not.
it. Yeah.
The
This is
co-
another cultural shock. So in my first month with Vlad in Australia, we are returning from the beach, and then we stop by in a shopping mall close to 5 p.m. in a Sunday, and it was so quiet. Nobody was there. And then we were all able to get in, open the door, and then all the shops closed, and you're trying to get a coffee. No coffee shops open and everything, and then you are like, what's going on? Maybe this shop is on different. It was a different shopping that we haven't been there yet. So I was like, what's going on? And then they lock the doors and you are inside, right? And you're like, how do you do to leave this place now? So you find the green button and then we just touch it and you open the door and then you saw a little sign saying, oh, it goes until 5 p.m. And then you came home wondering, oh, okay, it's a Sunday, maybe they have different times on a Sunday, right? But the thing is, yeah, the shops, they close like 5 p.m.
Yeah,
Most
that's
of
very
shops.
clear for
So
me.
yeah, we have some specific large shops, like Kmart is one that opens until late, like 9 p.m. So there is one day a week, which is Thursday, that they open the shops until 9 p.m. And that's is the big day that everybody goes to the shop and they go to the restaurants. So some of the restaurants, they open at nighttime inside of the shopping malls, but not the shops. The shops are closed. And then just one or two specific shops, they open until late. It was shocking because most of coffee shops, they close at 2, 2:30, 3 p.m. maximum. And for someone that is a coffee lover that used to, for example, here in São Paulo, that everything works 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
And then I had this habit with Vlad. Sometimes we were in someone's house or in a place, and then we are leaving that place 11 p.m. We knew that we were gonna go to a bakery to have a coffee at 11 p.m. or midnight or 1 a.m. It was so normal for us here in São Paulo. And then when we went there,
May I?
it was shocking.
May I? Just one little thing that was Gold Coast where we were living. So it's
Yes.
different that when you go to Melbourne or Sydney that they a different setup.
Times.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah, but not too different, right? They also have some
They follow the
restrictions
same
in terms
schedule,
of
maybe. Yeah, they probably
for
follow
some
the same
things.
schedule.
Yeah,
Salaries.
yeah,
And
but
people
they
say
are
that,
more
yeah.
open.
Have you been to Melbourne? Melbourne says that it's really fancy city and very luxurious
Yeah,
city, is it?
it is. Not for too long. We stayed there for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days only. At the very end of, so when we got to know that we were living in Australia, our visa would expire in June this year. So we made a plan. So from January, when we received the news, until June, so we calculate the time and we said, okay, we stopped working in mid-May or end of May, and then we start traveling around Australia until 20th of June. I think the visa went until to 24th of June. So we decided to travel. And Melbourne was one of the places that you haven't been, because on our trips, we are always prioritizing hot cities, going to new beaches. And Melbourne was like, okay, it's too cold, let's avoid it. And then when we knew that we were leaving, we decided to go to the north of Australia in a cruise ship. In a place that I was dreaming to go, which is Arley Beach and Cairns, where you have the Great Barrier Reef. And then we went to the south, to Sydney and Melbourne, in a road trip, which was amazing. So we went in our caravan stopping by in certain cities and sleeping there, and then we came to Sydney and then to Melbourne. So Melbourne is beautiful. It's beautiful. I loved that place,
So,
but we didn't
so
have much
I think
time.
that you have already chosen. You and Vlad have already chosen the city. You can live in this city here. It's my place. It's Santos, okay? So it's a coastal city that's quite similar to your place, yeah. And
Yeah,
that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good for you to go to
yeah,
Santos. You have
yeah,
already a
it's
host
a
there.
good
Everything's
place
gonna
to
be
live.
arranged.
yeah,
Yeah,
we have a coastal city that we want to live on. It's our first one in our
list.
list. Yeah, but we haven't made any decision yet. We
Okay, yeah.
have something to consider. Yeah, but thank you for the invitation, Renato. If you decide to go to
Yeah, let me
Santos,
know. Yeah,
I'll let you know,
We go
so
with
you
you.
can do a tour with us.
yeah. Just out of curiosity, people say that the fastest trip from Brazil, from São Paulo to Australia, is going through Chile. Yeah, because you
Chile.
take about 20 hours. If you go to another route, you're going to spend about 30 hours. Okay, so I think that's the best way to go
Yeah,
to Chile.
this
Yeah.
via Chile is 24, 25 hours, right? So usually you stop in Chile and then sometimes in New Zealand. So I know New Zealand airport only. I've been there 2 or 3 times. So this is the fastest one, really.
Yeah.
Chile, New Zealand, and then you go to a big city like Sydney or Melbourne before going to the Gold Coast. There is another one via Dubai, which is 33, 35 hours or so. So we've done that once, and then you took the opportunity to stay 2 nights in Dubai because we were
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and it was amazing. But it's a long leg, so 15 hours in a plane, and then
Yeah.
3 hours waiting, and
It's
15 hours in a plane.
too tiring, bro.
It's tiring, and I cannot sleep in the plane also, Vlad.
Yeah.
So it's really tiring, and then you get in the jet lag for like 2 weeks after that. It's really terrible. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Let's move to
Okay.
João, please. João,
Okay.
your question, please. And welcome. It's his first
Hello.
time here, guys.
Yeah,
Welcome, João.
sure. Hello, everyone. Hello, Meg.
Hello. Hello, João.
My name
Nice
is
to meet
John,
you.
as you can see on the screen. I'm from Angola. Actually, while talking about the TESOL course, it called my attention and willing to know some kind of information. Like I gotta hear 2 questions. So
Yes.
I don't know if you mind asking them. I'm sorry, answering them. The
Sorry,
first one is, I said I got 2 questions here.
yeah.
Okay. The first one is like, are there some specific requirement for an English speaker to attend this course? And the second one is like, how long does the course take?
Are you talking about the English course?
TESOL course, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Specific requirements. Look, you need to prove that you have funds to pay your bills there in case you're not working, right? So
Okay.
when you apply to a student visa, not only you need to pay for the visa fee, you need to pay for the school, because that is a visa fee for the government, for the migration. And then you need to pay for the school, and then you need to pay for your tickets, obviously. But also you need to hire a health insurance, which is really expensive. And you need to hire this health insurance while you are there. It's compulsory. And also you need to send them bank statements showing that you have money enough to pay your bills in case you don't work while you are there, right? So it's something that they require. So this is the minimum requirement. And then you need to go through a health test as well before you go. before they
Oh, right.
approve your visa, before you leave your country. So they want to make sure that everything is okay with your health. They will not have problems over there. So for foreign people, the health program is really expensive in Australia.
Yeah.
It's really so it's when someone says, "Oh, it's super expensive to go to Australia," really, it's not about only the ticket. The ticket's super expensive. But everything that you need to do. This is the reason why it took me so long to go, because I was planning to go in 2011, and then 2011 I just checked prices and everything, and I said, okay, it's impossible. And 2013 again, I kind of check again the price and everything, the forecast to go, and then I said, I still cannot go. And then so it was clear to me the only way to go, it was if I quit my job and receive some money from the company, and then I would be able to pay for everything, because it is it's an investment. It's really an investment. It's different
Sure.
from going to North America, for example. I don't know the requirements, but it seems that Australia is even more difficult than going to North America,
And they are making
United
it
States.
harder.
Yeah.
They keep,
Got it.
and they keep it harder and harder and harder.
Sure.
Unless if they really need a certain kind of set of skills, and then they start open, as I said before, certain specific visas for that specific, for example, for the health sector, they have some specific visas because it's something that they need. So the government sponsor people to work in aged care, for example, which is a very big area over there, aged care sector. Yeah. It's not easy, man. It's really hard to go there, and they refuse
I
lots
think
of visa even before the person leave the country. So when we apply for our visa, which was December, I think, 2015, we bought our ticket for Feb 2 months late, and also we decided to get married before going there, because we weren't married before. So when you decide to go to Australia, you also decide to get married and go. So we got married on a Saturday, and we travel on Tuesday, like 4 days after, right? So when you applied for the visa in December, and I start thinking, oh my God, and if they refuse our visa, our life is like all being built around this situation, but they can just refuse. Thank God they didn't. They approve our
And then, Meg,
visa.
you'd have the best honeymoon ever. You
Yeah.
could go
Yeah.
for honeymoon.
We used to say that our honeymoon is the longest in the
Longest
history,
ever.
because we went there
Unbelievable.
to
8
spend
years
7
honeymoon.
months. Yeah, eight years, and you
Honeymoon.
finally finish. Yeah, it was an amazing honeymoon, but at the same time, we got a bit nervous with all the changes, and as I said at the beginning, the language and the culture, and yeah, and you know that most of people here, I think most of us are Brazilian, right? Brazilian is really we show affection really easy, and we hug people and you kiss people, and you have this kind of being close to people very much, even if we don't know them very well. In Australia, they have they take the personal space very serious, right? We don't hug someone that you don't know. And this is shocking as well, because when you arrive in the country and notice that people are not so, you see the body language, they do this sometimes when they see high expression of affection, and they kind of go back. So, and I said to Vlad, because we were in a honeymoon, we used to kiss a lot in front of everybody, because here in Brazil we do that, right? And I said Vlad, I don't see anybody kissing
Comfortable.
anyone on the streets or in public spaces, so let's be careful with that, so we don't shock people.
There was a downside for honeymoon then.
A little
It's gonna
bit.
be so
Yeah,
effective.
we kept that for ourselves,
Yeah.
and I said, okay, no external expressions of affection to everyone.
All right. Heider, last question, please.
Okay, so Maggie, is it true that Australia eat kangaroo meat?
Yes,
If yes, have you ever eaten it? Did you like it?
just once. And to be honest, I don't remember the flavor. Vlad remembers. He said, because we went to a barbecue, a Brazilian restaurant. I mean, they said they are Brazilian style food, but the owner wasn't a Brazilian. So they served crocodile, kangaroo, so something that we don't do here, right? So they had kangaroo meat.
It's a little sweet meat. Yeah, like lamb, something like that.
Yeah. And I don't know who has that picture, Simone, is you or Renato with the koala, little koala?
I will send them afterwards. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Because people ask a lot about the animals and they talk a lot about kangaroo, which is really a specific. They have animals in Australia that you cannot see in another place, right? Kangaroo is the first one that everybody talk about. But the one that I think is so cute is the koala. So, and you see the koalas, there are parks that you can take pictures with the koalas. You pay like $70 to take a picture with a koala, hanging a koala. And then you had that opportunity once to do it. And it's so pretty. And sometimes we are driving in some roads, like a bit far from the big cities, and you see signs saying, oh, be careful with the wildlife, because sometimes koalas can be crossing the road or kangaroos can be crossing the road. So you see this everywhere. But unfortunately, we never seen
No.
an animal like crossing the road when you're passing or you're driving. But yeah, you can see them. This
Oh,
they are so cute. They eat the leaves and that's it. And they sleep most of time, like
They-
20 hours a day. They sleep and
they
sleep
get
and sleep.
drunk from the.
Vlad is saying here they get drunk with the leaves that they eat for some reason that they just spoil. They are super cute, and it's like a baby when you hold them. It's so beautiful. It's nice. It's nice. And also, I was thinking about, but I don't think you have time anymore to talk about Australian slangs, right? Because Australians have this habit to cut short some words. So, like here, when you are talking to another person that has the same language, you speak fast and you speak like sometimes we cut the words short. And Australians, they do this all the time. So after that, also, if someone has the opportunity to send the link to all you guys to just for curiosity to see how they speak, it's totally different from other countries. So for example, if you are saying afternoon, they don't say afternoon, they say avo, arvo.
Wow. That's something
ARVO,
different.
arvo. And you don't say, they don't say avocado, they say avo.
Avo.
And if you, for example, I was working in the bar, as I said, right? They come to ask you for white wine, Cabernet Sauvignon. No, they say Cab Sav. And then if you don't know, you just get lost. You are working and you don't know what they're talking about because Cab Sav, what is, I never heard this before. So you need to learn on the go. And then they really, so breakfast is brekkie, husband is hubby. So
That's really interesting,
they
Meg. Oh
cut
my
the
gosh.
words.
Okay, sorry to cut you off, but it
It's
is.
okay.
We try to be strict here with our Time's up, guys. Meg, it was really amazing. At the beginning of the session, I knew we would run out of time and we didn't touch all the topics that we were supposed to. So I'll
Yeah.
definitely ask you to come back. I don't know you in person, but it felt really easy. Like it felt like we know each other, like you knew everybody. And also at moments, it didn't feel like there were questions. You're just talking like we were in a seminary, let's say, like you had a session of your own. You could just go from one question to the other with so much ease, and it was really amazing. We have
Thank you,
had
guys.
some sessions here with Australians, but your like the way you brought the country to us. I think Renato was also with us with some of the Australians, Hyder, I think, or Tasmania. But it's
Yeah.
completely different to see how a Brazilian has his perspective, right? Kia was
Yeah.
also here. She talked about New Zealand with her husband, and they're also like immigrants, and it's really different when you talk with natives, right? And today was really amazing because of that. And I cannot wait to see Vlad here as well, because he's also a Brazilian who lives in Australia. So guys,
Felix.
when his turns come, and Glad, I'm proud of you because I noticed so many times you wanted to talk, but you really like holding back. Your turn will arrive. You're
Oh my
really
God. This is a
so
big
thanks for that.
challenge for Vlad.
I'm very
Can-
talkative.
Cannot.
It was really good. All right, guys.
I
hope to
kept
see
to
you again
myself.
next time. Vlad,
We'll
you
have
will be,
time.
yes,
Next
you
time.
will be there 1 hour. 1 hour. And then
Wow.
the next time together. So no fighting. Get ready for it. Right? Okay,
Thank you so
guys.
much, Simone, for having me and for the opportunity. And I am here. If someone wants to ask me questions, just call me on WhatsApp and you can talk.
That's
It's
really good
okay.
to hear. So, guys, you know, we
Thank
have
you.
free
Okay.
pass to Mac's personal number. That's really cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I'll see you
Meg.
next weekend.
Thank
I mean,
you.
next Wednesday is another meeting as well. I will send the link. Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye, Maggie. Bye bye,
Bye-bye.
Vlad. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you. Bye bye,
Bye. Thank you,
people.
guys.